And there she was, grainy but unmistakable, her smile soft, her hand resting near his. She felt the blood drain from her face. Her phone buzzed at that exact moment. A call from Min-jae. She didn't answer. That evening, Min-jae showed up at her small apartment. When she opened the door, her expression was cold, guarded. "Dammy, you should go," she said quietly. "The whole city's talking. I'm just a waitress. You're supposed to be saving lives, not ruining your own reputation." He stepped closer, his voice low, sincere. "I don't care what they say." "Well, I do." Her voice cracked. "Because it's my life that's falling apart, not yours. I got suspended today, Min-jae. They said the restaurant doesn't want unnecessary media attention." He froze. "They suspended you?" Her eyes filled with tears she refused to shed. "You promised you'd handle it." "I will," he said, reaching for her hand. "I swear I'll fix this." "Stop trying to fix everything," she snapped, pulling away. "You can't just control people's lives because you have money." The silence that followed was thick, trembling, then softer, broken. She whispered, "You should go before you make it worse." He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he stood by his penthouse window, soul glittering below him, the photo of them on every gossip site and the glass reflection behind him. Gia appeared, holding 2 glasses of wine. "You can't win this," she said softly. "Your mother's already talking to the board. They'll protect your image, even if they have to bury her." He turned sharply. "Leave her out of this." Gia smiled, slow, poisonous. "Then make the right choice, Min-jae. Come back to where you belong." He stared at her, jaw tight, every nerve in him rebelling. "I already have," he said. "You're just too blind to see it." He left her standing there, perfect, furious, and irrelevant. At the same hour, Dammy sat alone in her dim kitchen, holding her mother's photo. The phone beside her buzzed again, Min-jae's name lighting the screen, and she whispered through her tears, "Why did you have to care about me?" Because deep down, she already knew. She wasn't angry because of the gossip or her job. She was angry because she had fallen for him. And love, for someone like her, came with consequences she was no longer ready to pay. 3 weeks had passed since Dammy last saw him. 3 weeks of silence. Pretending she didn't check her phone at every buzz. Pretending she could breathe without his voice. The restaurant had let her go. Politely, formally, as if cutting her loose would erase the scandal that had fed Seoul's gossip columns. She'd moved into a smaller apartment and taken a job at a book cafe. The quiet helped. The anonymity helped. But some things wouldn't stay quiet forever. That Monday morning, her phone rang. "Dammy?" The voice was weak but familiar, her mother's. "Mama, you sound tired." "I'm all right," her mother said, trying to sound steady. "Just been coughing again. The doctor here says I should go for a proper checkup in Seoul. There's a hospital called Han Medical." Dammy froze. "Han Medical?" "Yes, baby. The doctor said they specialize in heart and lung cases. They have a visiting program for international patients. I just got approved." Dammy's stomach twisted. "Mama, maybe another hospital." "Honey," her mother interrupted gently. "It's already arranged. I fly out in 2 days." 2 days later, Dammy stood at the arrival terminal, clutching her mother's travel bag, heart racing, when the automatic doors slid open and her mother appeared. Frail, smiling, wrapped in a sky-blue shawl. Dammy felt tears sting her eyes. But that warmth died instantly when she saw the driver waiting near the exit, wearing a Han Medical badge. "Miss Smith?" the driver asked. "Dr. Han requested we take your mother directly to the hospital for her admission." Her breath caught. He didn't, but of course he did. It was exactly the kind of thing Min-jae would do. Quietly, relentlessly, without asking permission. At the hospital, white corridors gleamed under soft light. The air smelled faintly of antiseptic and lavender. Nurses wheeled her mother into a private suite overlooking the Han River. Far too expensive for someone like them. Dammy stood at the foot of the bed, tense. "Mama, this room is beautiful," her mother said, smiling faintly. You should thank your friend, Dr. Han. He said he was happy to help an old woman feel comfortable. Dammy's throat tightened. You spoke to him? He came to meet me downstairs. Such a fine young man. Before Dammy could answer, the door opened, and Min-jae walked in. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, white coat draped loosely over a blue shirt. But when his gaze met hers, something lit up in him. Dammy, he said quietly. Her voice trembled. You shouldn't have done this. I had to, he said. It's your mother. Her mother looked between them, curious. You two know each other? Dammy swallowed. He's the doctor who treated me, remember? When I fainted. Oh, her mother smiled. Well, then you're an angel twice over. Min-jae smiled softly. I'll do everything I can to make sure she recovers fully. For the next few days, Dammy tried to avoid him, but it was impossible. He visited every morning, checking charts, talking to her mother with gentle humor, sometimes catching Dammy's gaze in moments that burned. Late one evening, after her mother had fallen asleep, she found him standing outside the hospital garden, hands in his coat pockets. You shouldn't keep helping me, she whispered. He turned. I don't see it as help. Then what? He hesitated, then stepped closer. You once asked me who saves me when I'm tired of saving everyone else. Her breath caught. It's you, he said simply. She looked away, blinking fast. Don't say that. Not here. Not when your mother and your ex are probably plotting another headline. He gave a small, sad smile. They can have the headlines. I just want the truth. And what's that? That I'm falling in love with you, Dammy. The words landed between them, quiet but irreversible. The next morning, Madame Han arrived unannounced. Her sharp eyes took in Dammy's presence instantly. The way Min-jae spoke softly to her mother. The gentle smile that wasn't professional anymore. She dismissed the nurses and turned to Dammy once they were alone. You're very brave, Madame Han said, voice silky and cold. Most women know when they're out of their depth. Dammy stiffened. I'm just here for my mother. Of course you are. The older woman smiled thinly. But I should warn you, the Han family protects its name fiercely. You've already cost my son enough. Dammy's pulse raced. If you're finished, I'd like to check on my mother. Madame Han's eyes narrowed. Don't mistake kindness for permission, Miss Smith. She left with her perfume lingering like poison in the air. That night, Min-jae found Dammy sitting by the rooftop garden, tears silently tracking down her cheeks. She came to see me, she whispered. He exhaled heavily. I know. I'm sorry. You can't keep apologizing for everyone around you, she said bitterly. They'll never see me as enough. He stepped closer, cupping her face gently. Then I'll make them. Min-jae. He kissed her before she could finish, soft at first, then desperate, as if the world itself had narrowed down to this fragile, stolen second. When they broke apart, she whispered, trembling, What happens now? He brushed a tear from her cheek. Now, we stop pretending we can walk away. The sky over Seoul was bruised purple that evening, the kind of dusk that promised rain. Inside Han Medical, the air was heavier than usual. Nurses whispered in corridors. Assistants scurried faster than normal. Something was brewing, and Dammy felt it before she even knew what it was. She was sitting beside her mother's hospital bed, reading aloud softly from an old romance novel. Her mother smiled faintly between coughs. Then the door opened, and Jia walked in, wearing a fitted white suit and an expression that could slice glass. Oh, Jia said sweetly, eyes sweeping the room. How homey. You've made yourself quite comfortable. Dammy stood, her heart pounding. What are you doing here? Jia smirked. Checking on a patient. Dr. Han asked me to oversee a new foundation project. I thought I'd start here. Lies. Her tone alone told Dammy this was something else. Jia's gaze shifted to the older woman in bed. You must be Dammy's mother. I heard you've been receiving premium care. Very impressive, considering the hospital's policy on charity cases. Dammy's chest tightened. You need to leave. Jia's smile widened. You should be grateful. You've already gotten more from Min Jae than most women ever will." Then she leaned in close and whispered, "Enjoy it while it lasts, sweetheart. His mother doesn't lose." And with that, she was gone. That night, the story broke. A headline flashed across Korean gossip sites and international news alike. Billionaire doctor under investigation for patient favoritism. Alleged affair with African-American woman. Underneath were photos of Dami walking into the hospital, of her mother being admitted, even of her and Min Jae standing together in the rooftop garden. The comments were vicious. Some accused her of seducing him for money. Others mocked her race, her background, her accent. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Calls, messages, notifications. She turned it off, tears stinging her eyes. Meanwhile, inside Han headquarters, the boardroom was ice cold. Executives murmured among themselves until Madame Han entered. Her expression calm and lethal. Min Jae stood at the end of the table, jaw clenched. "Do you deny these allegations?" one board member asked. "I have nothing to hide," Min Jae said evenly. "The woman in question's mother is a patient under my care. Everything was handled ethically." Another voice cut in Jaz as she entered gracefully. "With all due respect, Director Han," she said, "the public doesn't see it that way. They see a love affair interfering with a hospital's integrity. We could lose investors." Madame Han folded her hands. "You've humiliated this family, Min Jae. You will issue a statement denying the relationship immediately." He met her gaze. "And if I don't?" Her eyes hardened. "Then you will no longer represent Han Medical." Silence. Even Jia looked startled. That night, Dami sat in her apartment, numb. Her mother had been discharged early for administrative reasons. The hospital claimed a reassignment of care. It was just a polite way of saying leave quietly. When the knock came, she didn't want to answer. But she did, and there he was. Rain dripped from his hair, his shirt half soaked, eyes burning with frustration and worry. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I had to see you," he said hoarsely. "They used you, Dami. They leaked everything, your mother's records, your photos. All of it. Why? Because they want to break us apart." She turned away, voice trembling. "Maybe they should. Maybe this was never supposed to happen." He caught her wrist, gently but firmly. "Don't say that." She faced him, eyes wet. "I lost my job, my mother's treatment, my privacy, everything. Just for loving you, Min Jae. How much more can they take?" He pulled her into his arms. "As much as they want," he whispered against her hair. "But they can't take you from me." Later that week, Madame Han met Jia at a private lounge overlooking the city. "You've done well," she said coolly, sipping her tea. "The board trusts you again. Keep it that way." Jia smiled faintly. "And what about your son?" Madame Han's gaze drifted to the skyline. "He'll learn. Love fades. Power doesn't. But power doesn't heal, and love doesn't vanish on command." At that very moment, Min Jae was standing outside Dami's apartment again, holding a small envelope, her mother's official reinstatement letter, signed by him. He'd fought all day to get it approved. When Dami opened the door, he simply handed it to her and said softly, "You don't have to thank me. Just let me be here." She looked at him. The billionaire doctor who could have chosen anyone, the man who risked everything, and whispered, "I don't know if I'm strong enough for your world." He smiled sadly. "Then let me carry you through it." And for the first time in weeks, she didn't push him away. The city woke up to cold rain. Seoul's skyline looked blurred and ghostly, as if even the heavens disapproved of what was happening. At Han Medical, tension hung heavier than the weather. The elevator ride to the boardroom felt endless. Every nurse, every intern, every executive who passed Min Jae looked away, some out of pity, others out of fear. Today, the board would decide whether to suspend him. Inside the boardroom, cameras and microphones were banned, but secrets had their own way of escaping. The chairman adjusted his glasses. "Dr. Han, multiple ethics complaints have been filed. The central question is whether you provided medical privileges or financial support to a patient based on personal affection." "I provided care," Min-jae said firmly, and ensured her mother's safety. A different board member asked, "And your relationship with Miss Dammy Smith?" He looked them all in the eye. "Personal, not professional." Murmurs spread like static. Madame Han's voice sliced through the noise. "Your choices have endangered our hospital's reputation. You will issue a retraction and accept a temporary leave." "I won't lie," he replied. Her gaze hardened. "Then you will lose everything." Across town, Dammy sat in a small cafe, nursing a cup of untouched tea. Her mother rested upstairs, weak but improving. When the doorbell chimed, she looked up, and her heart sank. "Jia." Dammy's instinct screamed to leave, but Jia sat across from her, calm and radiant as ever. "Relax," Jia said. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to end this mess before you both destroy yourselves." Dammy frowned. "You've already done enough." Jia slid a sleek folder across the table. Inside is a flight ticket to Michigan, a bank transfer document, and a medical sponsorship form. "Your mother's treatment will be fully paid, under my foundation." Dammy didn't touch it. "What's the catch?" Jia's smile didn't falter. "You disappear. Tonight. No calls, no goodbyes. Leave Korea and never contact Min-jae again." Her throat tightened. "And if I refuse?" Jia leaned forward. "Then tomorrow the ethics board votes to revoke his license permanently. He'll never practice medicine again, because of you." The rain outside grew louder, hammering against the glass like the sound of her breaking heart. Back at the hospital, Min-jae's assistant rushed into the boardroom mid-hearing. "Sir, an anonymous file just leaked online. The hospital's private donor list." The chairman frowned. "Who leaked it?" No one answered. But Min-jae already knew. This wasn't about corruption. It was about control. His mother and Jia were burning everything to make him bend. He stood abruptly. "If this is about reputation, suspend me. I don't care. But don't punish the patients who depend on us." Madame Han whispered coldly, "You've changed." He met her gaze. "No, mother. For once, I haven't." That night, Dammy packed slowly. Each folded shirt felt like a confession. Each tear that fell on the suitcase felt like surrender. Her mother stirred weakly from the bed. "Honey, why are you crying?" "I just need to go home for a while," Dammy said, forcing a smile. "Your treatment's all arranged. You'll be fine here." Her mother reached out, brushing her cheek. "That doctor of yours? He really loves you, doesn't he?" The words broke her. She hugged her mother tightly and whispered, "That's why I have to go." Meanwhile, Min-jae drove through the rain, tires cutting through puddles like his pulse through panic. He just left the hearing when his assistant told him Dammy had withdrawn her mother's medical files. He called. No answer. He called again. Still nothing. Finally, a text buzzed in, short, final, devastating. "Please don't look for me. Take care of my mother. That's all I want." He froze, hands tightening on the steering wheel. The rain blurred everything outside. Buildings, lights, hope. "No," he whispered. Then he hit the gas. At Incheon Airport, Dammy stood by the departure gate, eyes swollen from crying. Her ticket trembled in her hand. A voice shouted her name through the noise. Deep, raw, familiar. "Dammy!" She turned, and there he was, breathless, rain-soaked, his hospital ID still clipped to his coat. Security tried to stop him, but he pushed through, ignoring the cameras flashing from curious bystanders. He stopped right in front of her, chest heaving. "You can't leave." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "You don't understand, Min-jae. If I stay, you lose everything." He stepped closer, voice breaking. "Then let me lose it. Because I already lost the one thing I can't replace, you." She shook her head, trembling. "They'll destroy you. Then let them try." He reached for her hands, gripping them tightly. "Please, Dammy, don't walk away." The loudspeaker announced final boarding. Her heart pounded against time. For a moment, she saw it. Their future, fragile and impossible. Then she whispered, "I love you too much to ruin you." And before he could answer, she turned and walked through the gate. He stood there long after she disappeared from sight, soaked to the bone, the crowd fading into silence. For the first time in years, Dr. Han Min-jae had no diagnosis, no cure, and no control. Only heartbreak. The snow in Michigan fell slow and heavy, blanketing the campus of St. Haver's Medical Institute in silence. It was the kind of night that made memories ache. Inside the institute's crowded conference hall, cameras flashed, reporters murmured, and banners read, "Innovations in Global Cardiology," hosted by St. Haver's and Han Medical. The irony wasn't lost on Dr. Han Min-jae. His name was still powerful, but no longer untarnished. 6 months had passed since Dami left Korea. 6 months since the board suspended him for ethical review. 6 months since he'd last heard her voice. He'd poured himself into volunteer medical work, underground clinics, rural operations, even charity surgeries across Asia, all under anonymity. But his hands, the same hands that once saved lives with precision, trembled when her memory surfaced. Even now, as he adjusted his tie in the mirror backstage, her voice echoed in his mind. "I love you too much to ruin you." He hadn't been ruined. He'd been emptied. Across the room, Dami Smith stood near the registration table, her hair tied back neatly, her uniform crisp. After returning home, she'd found work as a conference aide. Part-time, stable, safe. Her mother was finally recovering, stronger every day thanks to an anonymous benefactor who covered every hospital bill. Dami didn't know who it was. She didn't need to. Some part of her already knew. But she hadn't expected to see him again. When the event coordinator mentioned that the keynote surgeon from Seoul had just arrived, her pen froze midair. Han. Doctor. Han. No, couldn't be. But when she turned toward the stage and saw him, tall, poised, still impossibly calm beneath the glare of cameras, her pulse betrayed her. It was him. Min-jae. She ducked behind the curtain, hiding among stacks of boxes and folded banners. Her hands shook. Her breath came shallow. For 6 months, she had built walls, crafted routines, prayed her heart would forget. And yet one single glimpse shattered it all. Meanwhile, Min-jae's assistant entered with a folder. "Sir, the organizer said a Miss Smith will assist you backstage with the medical slides." The name hit him like lightning. "Smith?" "Yes, sir. Dami Smith." He froze. For the first time in years, his composure broke. "Where is she?" "Backstage." He didn't wait. The storage area smelled faintly of cardboard and coffee. The hum of the heating system filled the silence. She heard his footsteps before she saw him, measured, determined, unforgettable. Dami! Her name on his tongue felt like a wound reopening. She turned slowly. He looked older, more tired, but his eyes, still the same, that quiet fire that saw her even when no one else did. "I didn't think you'd be here," she whispered. "I didn't think you'd leave," he said softly. Silence. Just the hum of machines and the sound of two hearts remembering. She swallowed hard. "You shouldn't talk to me. Your career." "My career was never the loss," he interrupted. "You were." Her eyes glistened. "You don't know what I've been through." "I know what I put you through," he said. "And I'd undo it all if I could." She laughed bitterly. "Undo what? The scandal? The shame? The nights I wondered if I was just a mistake." He stepped closer, voice low, raw. "You were never a mistake, Dami. You were the only thing that made sense." Her breath caught. Every part of her screamed to walk away, but her feet refused. He reached into his pocket and handed her a folded receipt. A hospital invoice from Seoul, marked paid in full. Her mother's name at the top. The donor, H. Min-jae. She stared at it, hands trembling. It was you. I promised to take care of her," he said. "Even when you wouldn't let me take care of you." Tears blurred her vision. "Why would you do that?" "Because loving you didn't stop just because you left." Outside, the conference music began. They were supposed to be on stage in 2 minutes. But in that small room, time stopped. He took a step closer. "Dami, I can't go back to who I was before you. The man who lived for his hospital, his mother's pride, his empire, he's gone." Her voice shook. And the man in front of me now? He smiled faintly. He just wants to breathe again. With you. She looked down, then up, searching his face for deceit. But all she found was quiet truth. Her hands lifted, hesitated, then finally rested on his chest. His heartbeat raced beneath her fingers. I hate that I still love you, she whispered. He exhaled shakily. Then let me earn it this time. A voice called from outside. Dr. Hahn, you're up. He looked at her, torn between duty and desire. Dammy smiled faintly through tears. Go. They need you out there. He held her gaze a moment longer before whispering, I'll find you after this. And when he stepped onto the stage moments later, every camera in the hall turned toward him. But his eyes searched only for the woman behind the curtain, the one who had brought him back to life. The thunder of applause shook the conference hall. Dr. Han Min-jae stood beneath the dazzling stage lights, his crisp white coat glowing under the flash of cameras. His keynote presentation, an emotional, unexpected speech about the human heart, had just ended. But no one realized he wasn't talking about cardiology. He was talking about her. Medicine is not just about science, he said earlier, his voice steady yet soft. It's about connection. The pulse we listen to isn't only in our patients' chests. It's in their stories, their fears, their love. Sometimes the heart we save isn't the one on the table, but the one we've forgotten to heal within ourselves. The audience had gone utterly still. Doctors, journalists, even rival executives leaned forward. And when the applause came, it was thunderous. What they didn't know was that the woman he was glancing toward backstage, through every word, was Dammy Smith. Backstage, Dammy watched through the side curtain, tears tracing down her cheeks. She'd never seen him like this. Free, vulnerable, radiant. He looked like a man reborn. Then came the mistake that would change everything. As he walked off stage, an overeager intern pushed forward, carrying a tablet and a microphone. Dr. Hahn, can we record a quick clip for our official conference page? He nodded absently. Of course. The intern smiled and said, let's get a warm moment. Maybe greet your assistant, Miss Smith, for the camera? He froze too late. The camera turned toward Dammy, standing just behind him, startled like a deer in headlights. The intern chirped, Dr. Hahn's assistant and translator. Miss Smith, everyone.
Find out what happens in their relationship in the next episode, which is coming up soon, by clicking on the notification icon. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also tell us the country you are watching us from in the comments section so that we will make a story for you.